Ladies and gentlemen, my part will be brief. Over the next few days, you'll be exposed to media, so I do not need to treat it in great depth. I'll do a very superficial summary for you. First of all, looking at the broad picture, we have a media structure that's open, free, competitive, and diverse, is what you typically find when you go into a fairly advanced economy. That comprises a veritable explosion of 50 satellite TV channels, 7 terrestrial channels, which is more than most European countries, 110 radio, 50 major newspapers, 250 community radio, which the minister has deregulated and is very vigorous and energetic, 400 consumer magazines, 500 trade magazines. It's a very lively environment. This is the reach factor. As you'd expect, radio is by far the most powerful to penetrate. I think the same as you'd find in Brazil, for example. Television is probably the most influential all over, and newspapers tend to be city by city, right? Then, in terms of consumption of advertising, I think it's a pattern that you'll find in most countries of South Africa's level of sophistication. About 40% of all television dollars are spent, or advertising dollars are spent on television, and about the same if you add up newspapers and magazines on that sector. Radio, while having a large reach, of course, in advertising terms, is somewhat lower. These are the major newspapers. I won't deal with them. You'll find them. The dailies cover city by city. The Sundays tend to be national. Some of them are more than 100 years old. Of all the magazines published in Africa, more than 2/3 are published in this country. It's a vigorous, competitive magazine market, increasingly niche magazines. Radio has been a great success. I think it was regulated particularly ably, and today you find a variety of channels serving every little community and every little niche in that community. Then you'd be most interested, I guess, in the satellite channels. When you're here, you'll have an opportunity to see them. There's something like 50, which is about the same in practice as Britain had, as you'll find most channels that you find in Germany. You'll find a branch here. Of them, 4 concentrate exclusively on sport, 24 hours a day, and the rest would be children, female interest, news, 4 news channels, wide variety. This is the advertising spread among the TV stations. This is our public broadcaster, first channel, second channel, third channel. I think the service is excellent. It's comparable to ABC, CBS, NBC in the States. This is a paid channel. That's ETV, a new startup, which is growing quite rapidly. Our public broadcaster, you'll judge for yourself, but I think compared to public broadcasters the world over, is my feeling of quite a high standard. It runs 3 terrestrial channels, which you'll see in the next few days, 2 satellite channels all across Africa, and a plethora of radio. This is the local company, which is comparable to Home Box Office or Star TV in Asia. It's by far the largest pay TV operator in the Southern Hemisphere, even bigger than the Australian operations. 2 terrestrial channels, lots of satellite channels. Behind this sits a company, first of all, ETV. How can I speed past that? It's a new launched channel comparable to ITV in Britain, increasingly gaining in audience. Time Warner is a 20% shareholder, now Time Warner AOL, and Marcel Golding, the head of ETV, sitting over there for questions. Behind this structure then is the satellite platform. It serves 41 countries in Africa. So from where you sit, within 20 kilometers, virtually all the satellite channels that are broadcast in English language Africa are being uplinked, part at MultiChoice, part at the SABC. Here you have, in addition to 50 television channels, also some 50 sound channels. Now, this is a technology company that underlies the satellite television business. When in Germany you switch on your decoder, your Kirsch decoder, that technology was developed by us, the encryption side. When, for example, in Britain you order your tagliatelle from Tesco with their new interactive ordering system, that's developed by OpenTV, which is one of our companies. For example, in Brazil, the bills that go out from Galaxy runs on software that we've developed. And in the United Arab Emirates, for example, if you pick up the phone, you call ART about your service, that's the training for that we give and the software we write. So this underlies very much the satellite side, and I think it's of particular interest because when we get to 2006, you'll want to know that there's an interactive capability to whatever you do. You'd be very interested in sports broadcasting. Now, in this country, sport is the issue. Every single sport gets an airing, but none so much as soccer. Now, if you look at the infrastructure, this country offered the 1995 Rugby World Cup, and you can judge how successful that was, the 1996 African Nations Cup, and then numerous international events. It was also selected to host and broadcast the 2003 Cricket World Cup. Behind this structure sits companies that allow you to communicate with the world, companies that own satellite capacity. There's Telkom, Centec, a big company belonging to the state, Orbicom, a variety of others. Now, in 1 year alone, last year, we broadcast from this country 100 separate international feeds. So something like, let's say, the $1 Million Golf was broadcast from Sun City to Australasia, to America, to Europe, all over the place. That happens using existing expertise, completely existing communications, existing satellite distribution, existing camera teams, existing digital OB units. So there's nothing that needs to be created in addition. At the moment, the country can handle an event of this magnitude. I think no other African country has nearly this expertise. And we realize that for you it's an important decision. We realize that in selecting this country, you're going to commit funds and people and your reputation. We believe the broadcasting industry in this country is ready, and more than ready, is very eager to assist you in that. If I may, we've just summarized a few sporting highlights broadcast in this country recently, and if you would kindly play it for us.